All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Purple Podcast. This is episode number 34 now. As you can tell, I am alone in the booth tonight. So with that being said, we're getting back to our Lately Lowdowns. This is going to be volume 5 of the Lately Lowdowns. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Hope everyone is doing well on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day Monday. Hope you're doing your best. I'm excited to have you back in the booth with us tonight. Lately, we have been doing the top 10s with Mike, so like I said, I am alone in the booth tonight. So there are some updates, I guess, in regards to that side of the podcast when we'll be doing those, just because Mike's schedule has changed up a little bit, thus, making it so we need to change around how we are, or when we're going to be recording, when the best day is going to be, just with busy schedules, everything like that. It's looking like we're going to start trying to do every Sunday evening. We'll record the episode, and I guess I'll release it out either Sunday evening or Monday morning. I think that's what we're going to try to work with, just because how things have came up as of late. But that's what we're looking to do. We weren't going to have an episode this week just because Mike was out of town this weekend as well. So thought you all still deserve some content out there. And we'll be getting some other things going your ways, the YouTube, the Call of Duty and everything like that. But I think I'm going to get back into doing some solo episodes. I'm definitely going to try to have some more friends on, since Mike's not necessarily going to be here, all the time, or, it's not necessarily super reliable, which is a shame to some degree, but we're going to try to get some other people back in here this year. Alone, as we've been wrapping up 2022 for those top 10 episodes, I've kind of been prepping, we're going to do a top 10 albums episode. We're going to do a top 10 movies episode of 2022. So I've been prepping for those, and has kind of made me want to follow that more into 2023. So, I guess you can kind of maybe expect I'll do some movie reviews probably, maybe some album reviews here and there, maybe TV shows as well. I know The Last of Us just came out last night, so I will definitely be doing some content on that and be keeping up with that. So honestly, I might try to get an episode out later this week with a episode 1 review of The Last of Us. I think that'd be pretty good, and just keep following that one. Maybe I can get my friends on that, because I know they're probably watching it as well. So that meaning like Leiter, Connor Gerhardt, we might be able to get them on for those. And we go to movies quite often as well. And I'm going to try to keep up to date with each release in 2023 as well. So going forward, just as much as I can, get to the movies as much as I can, keep up with albums, so I'm not, at the end of the year here like I'm doing currently, trying to binge all the 2020 movies, try to binge all the 2022 albums, which, obviously is impossible, but getting a good clip in, seen a lot of movies, listened to a lot of albums at this point. But I think going forward in 2023, what I was getting at is I'm going to try to start following those a bit more. And each time, if a really great album comes out, I might just do a quick little album review episode, which I think will be fun overall. Video games as well, those types of things. So just to keep up with the media, art, any kind of thing that's being released or updated, just kind of give you my first take on it, everything like that. But getting back into the Lately Lowdown, we are here on this solo podcast. I hope it's not too boring. I definitely enjoy having people in here more than just talking by myself. But it is what it is. I still enjoy this. It allows me to be creative. It allows me to put kind of some energy into something that, I'm really trying to further along the journey. So I got to keep making content. Like I said, I'll get some video game updates out to you lately or soon as well. But we'll hop into the, how we typically do a weekend wrap up here. Friday, didn't get into much. Ended up watching Elvis later that night. And see, this is what I mean. I've been watching a lot of 2022 movies. Watched Elvis for the first time. Didn't really know what to expect. Was never like a big Elvis fan. Was never someone that, I didn't really care to see the movie when it was being released, but I think in retrospect I probably will go see movies like that when they are coming up now. But watched Elvis for the first time, didn't really know what to expect, didn't really have like a ton of hype behind it, but I heard people did like it, so got into it, watched the movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I had a really fun time. I can say to some extent now, there's definitely some Elvis songs that I am a big fan of. If I Can Dream and Unchained Melody absolutely slapped. Well, and I already knew those songs, but it's like I just don't listen to Elvis. I'm not an Elvis fan, but man, those are some good ones. But overall, it was a really fun movie. Really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's on HBO Max right now, streaming. I guess that's a plug for them. Let me take a sip real quick. But really enjoyed the movie. Apparently, Austin Butler is still talking in his Elvis accent, which is kind of funny in itself. My one gripe about the movie would probably be, Tom Hanks' character. I just couldn't get over the fact that, it was just so obviously Tom Hanks in a fat suit, which I know to some degree it's difficult. He's incredibly famous, but it just hindered the movie in my mind to some extent. Or it's just something I was thinking. I was like, that's just Tom Hanks in a fat suit. Couldn't get over that. And his accent is just horrendous as well. But overall, good movie. I guess it kind of works because he's a carny-ish type of character, as in a circus folk, born and bred. But that was Friday night. Enjoyed it. Fun one. Saturday, probably when I woke up on Saturday, I got in the best Modern Warfare 2 session that I've had in a while, just because I've been playing Far Cry, and I'll talk a little bit more about Far Cry later on the episode here. But Far Cry 5, I've been playing that a ton, opposed to Modern Warfare 2. So the camo grind has slowed down a bit, but it got a really good session in on, like I said, Saturday morning while the Cats were playing, which, there another little highlight there. The Cats beat Tennessee at Tennessee when, it was a big win for the trajectory of this season for the Cats. God, my throat. But Modern Warfare 2 had the best session I've had in days. Been playing with, or probably weeks, been playing with the Kistov 74U. I actually only have 2 stream sessions with it. So, honestly, not going to be too terrible in terms of video content going over that. I'm so close to getting gold at this point. I think I'm just on the gold challenges. So I just have to get 3 kills without dying, probably like 7 more times. And I'm probably going to hop on tonight. I think me and Connor are going to play, and maybe I can get gold with that tonight. We can move on. So we're slowly moving. I'm going to play other things too in between, so it'll kind of calm down. Do we ever get to 51? We're sure going to fucking try, but will we make it? I don't know. So I hope you're enjoying those Call of Duty videos. But I do put some decent time into editing those. I'm getting better at it. But after that, later in the day, went to Mike and Madeline's house around 6ish. Had a little cookout, watched some football, played some Trivial Pursuit. Also nice. Desmond, first time since him, being the starting quarterback of the Falcons and playing the season, seeing him. So it was good to check out or hang out with him a bit. Him and Claire just hung out, played games. Did our thing, but that Jaguars-Chargers game was on during that, and it was, we were clowning Trevor Lawrence, of course. He threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter, 4 in the first half, and then came back and won the game with 4 touchdowns. So Justin Herbert, I guess, is the one who we really have to make fun of at this point. Did I say Justin Lawrence? It's Trevor Lawrence, right? Yeah. Don't know what I was thinking there, but ended up later that night, very late. Ended up rounding out going to O'Shea's. That was brief. Probably didn't need to do that, but had a good time anyways. Ended up back at the house pretty late that night. Slept pretty well too. Woke up Sunday, hurting a little bit, but went out to Gerstl's. Have a lot of friends who are Vikings fans. That is a Vikings bar. But the Dolphins and Bills, my team, my Dolphins. We'll talk about us in a second as well. Lost to the Bills in a very good game. Very happy to see where we were at in terms of. We were 14-point underdogs, and for that to be a game was an absolute blast. In my lifetime, I've seen the Dolphins I remember seeing, I think there have been 3 times in my lifetime, but one was like 0-1, and it's like, I don't remember that shit. But the 2 times I have seen, we've lost by 18 points both times, so to be in a game, especially against, the Bills at Buffalo, we got 3 good games with Buffalo this year, and that's a very, very strong team, one of the best teams in the league right now, and have been over the past couple years as well. So if we're competing with them, if we're playing against them, we got to win this year against them too. And could have won, we could have won all 3 of them, truthfully. We were in all of them in pretty bad circumstances as well in that second one, or in the third one here with Skylar Thompson as our quarterback. Damn, I went so far into it, I just got carried away. But Bills-Dolphins games, Dana, she did, her Buffalo Bills did beat me, so that was a kind of funny thing being with her during that game because it actually mattered this time. But it was a great atmosphere for like the Vikings games. Of course, it wasn't the outcome for the Vikings either, but an absolute blast. They put on a show there, and I had as a Dolphins fan, had a very great time, just kind of being around that fandom. I wish, honestly, I've never been to a Dolphins bar. I think there is one in Louisville, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. But it ended up coming back. I had drank a bit at the I got Gerstels during that day. So watched The Last of Us. Probably gonna watch it again, just because, like I said, I had been drinking a little bit and I was getting a little sleepy at that point. So probably will watch that episode again. But very excited to start getting that content. I'll probably watch it again and then do the review at some point. Then maybe I'll think of some categories, some exciting things to talk about, what I've liked and everything like that. But moving on over to one of the main things I want to talk about here today, Far Cry 5. Wanted to kind of fill you in on that one if you haven't played it. It's an old game at this point, 2018. Well, I guess not too old, but 2018. Never got around to playing it. I've only played one Far Cry in my life, that being Far Cry 4. But I played that in high school. So just coming back, this game happened to be on Xbox Game Pass, so if you have Xbox Game Pass, you can play it for free. Why not? I loved the fourth Far Cry. It was in some Himalayan mountains or something along those lines. This one's set in Montana, which was an interesting take in itself. Basically, you're fighting against a cult, and it's a family of 4 people, 3 brothers, 1 sister, who are prepping for the end of the world and have taken over this county in Montana. In regular Far Cry fashion, you just go around destroying outposts. It just feels so much like Far Cry 4, and just the uniqueness of Far Cry games in itself, and like the movement, how everything works is like, oh, this is very much just like a Far Cry game. It's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. That's kind of like all of them, and they still have like pretty good stories though. So they know when to like kind of be goofy and things like that as well. And I've really just had a fun time playing it. It's free. Would I have bought it? Probably not. But that's what I really liked about having Game Pass in itself, is that I can just play the game. If there's a game on there I want to try it out, let's do it. So that is what's been cutting into the Modern Warfare gaming. But that's all right. You need to get a break in there sometime in between as well. But I sure feel rusty when I came back onto COD for the first time. I'll tell you that. But overall, if you're looking for a game to play, if you have Game Pass, I'm not sure if there's like a PlayStation equivalent that game would still be on. Maybe they have a Game Pass as well. Check it out. I've had a ton of fun playing it. I'm not done yet, but it's been a really interesting aspect with like these cult aspects. There's this secret, or I guess not even a secret drug, but this mind-altering drug called Bliss. So, Far Cry's, they always have their bit of like hallucinogenic kind of missions and scenes and things like that. So I've truly enjoyed it. Check it out. But that'll cut it for Far Cry 5. On the TV, like I said, Last of Us, we should be getting some content out there soon about it, just because I've played that video game. I played it a long time ago. That's another heavy nostalgia game. So we're going to see. And it's a video game to like television screen transition that isn't very common. And a lot of people don't really succeed in doing that, so that should be fun. Film 2022, I'm still doing that top 10 movies prep basically, so I'll continue watching those. I guess I gotta start watching 2023 ones as well. I think Megan, that we just saw in theaters, is 2023. I think it's technically labeled that, but we might go to Babylon, but I think that's a 2022 one, this upcoming Tuesday. Books, or actually music, 2022 best albums prep. I'm still doing that. I guess me and Mike will probably get the top 10 albums out before the Grammys, which are sometime in February, I believe, and then we'll do the top 10 movies sometimes before the Oscars, which I believe are in March. So those will be some fun ones. We'll definitely make sure you get in here for those. Onto books news, Lord of the Rings. I'm still reading that, if you can imagine. What are you all reading out at home right now? I've really enjoyed reading books. It's not something that I really was huge on when I was growing up, to be honest. I never was like a big bookworm or anything like that, but as I've gotten, I'd say probably into like college summers, I would do some reading, and then now I'm just consistently reading. There's always breaks, and I sometimes won't do it for like a week or two, but I've been coming back to it or a lot more consistently than ever in my life. I'm reading much more than I ever would have. So I really truly love it. If you're doing it at home too, what are you reading? But I'm reading Lord of the Rings: Two Towers. Just got past Helm's Deep, so we're gonna get through that one. It's tough reading sometimes. It's tough sledding, a lot of travel, and just generally like some older language, so it just kind of wears you down. It's a little more difficult. You can't just fly through it as a more modern book would, or you would. My last and final thing I want to touch on, I already basically did it, but the Dolphins wrap up. Overall, was this the year that we wanted? Probably not. That being said, this is, we went to the playoffs. We did what we needed to do. We tried to screw it up. We really did. A year of streaks. We start the season 3-0. We lose our next 3. We go on a 5-game win streak. We lose our next 5. We win 1 game to make it into the playoffs. We lose the playoff game. So finished the year 9-9 total record. a lot of injury in between it. I think that's what ultimately will be the defining factor of like where, what led this team to ended up with like a pretty mediocre season, as bad of a playoff team as you could basically be. But they came out, they fought. I can at least be happy about that performance yesterday. Would it have been great to win? Absolutely. Getting Tua back the next week. But I think overall, the team was just too beat up on the secondary. We had 3 injuries. Byron Jones didn't even touch the field this year. Offensively, O-line is just banged up all the way around. Losing Raheem Mostert before this game probably had some kind of impact in itself. And just, Emmanuel Ogbah, that's another big name. He wasn't playing great by any means, but that was another guy formidable on the pass front. But we got Bradley Chubb now, Jalen Phillips. I think there's a lot of exciting things to look at for this team going forward. Especially, this Bills team is a really high contender for the Super Bowl this year. We played toe-to-toe with them 3 different times. I don't think you can hate what this team did. It's still a mixed bag of results. I think they have every right to run it back. Any kind of discussion of firing Mike McDaniel is absurd in my mind. The Tua question, I think, is more interesting because I do think Tua is that guy, or can be that guy consistently, and he'll get better and better, no doubt. But the thing is, can he stay on the field? Concussions aren't necessarily like an injury that you can count on like someone being injury prone about, but I guess you do get concussions. Some people get them more than others, but it happens sometimes. Aaron Rodgers had a season where he had 2 concussions. I guess Tua technically probably had 3, one assumed. So we'll see. He can do it, but can he stay on the field? Because there's other things too. He didn't play a lot of football this year. He was great in most games, but he didn't play a ton of football. We need him to be playing at these times. Losing all our games in December before the playoffs, he played those. We got to win those. So that's just how it goes. The team made the playoffs. I feel grateful for that. I feel grateful for the performance we put on yesterday. This team has a lot of growing, but I think we're growing. We made the playoffs. How can you be too upset about that? We just can't regress now. We got to keep moving forward, and we got to keep Tua on the field. So I think we buff up the O-line a little bit more as well. We don't have a first-round draft pick this year, but we'll see if we can do anything in free agency. Would love to get an O-line buffer. Would love to see how these secondary players are going to recover. What do we do with X? He hasn't been great this year. It definitely hasn't been his best year. I believe that he can come back, but he is getting old. So would need a lot of improvement from him in terms of, he's just not the lockdown corner that he once was, or he didn't show it this year at least. But overall, the Miami Dolphins, we finished 9-9, 500, went to the playoffs, went into Orchard Park, played a fantastic playoff game, somehow almost snuck out that win. The stats were disgusting for us, but hey, we were there, we were playing the game, and that's all you really could have asked at the end of the day, being 14-point underdogs. But we'll run it back next year. A lot of changes to come. I'm sure I'll have some updates here and there with the Dolphins offseason news and things like that. But on to, I guess, basketball season for the most part. I guess we'll finish up the playoffs, which should be fun in itself. We have the Chiefs and the Jaguars will be playing. Bengals, Bills, that's going to be a great game, or should be on paper. and then we'll see what goes there. Honestly, I think the Chiefs end up coming out of the AFC. NFC, I'm going with the 49ers. They just look powerful. I see a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl again. So at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs do get it done. I'll be honest. So we'll see. A lot of football still to come in terms of playoffs. Should be fun. We have another one tonight. It's going to be the Cowboys and Buccaneers, so that should be really fun in itself. So more football to come. Wrapping up, we'll move into basketball more so. The Cats, can we turn it around? Was that a changing point of the direction of this season and this team? Very well could be. That's the number 4 team in the country at home, top hostile place to play, and we won it. We saw a different lineup than normally. Severe Willer didn't play, so I think we might be onto something in that in those regards there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Then baseball season. I'm really looking forward to the Cubs season this year. So we'll talk some more about the Cubs later as well. But all right, guys, we're gonna cut it out here. I'm not sure how long I talked for. But good to get it out here. We're going to get some more content out here. This will be a fun one. We'll probably have that YouTube video with the Gustav getting gold sometime soon as well. So make sure to check that out, guys. Give me a like. Give me a subscription if you are enjoying these videos. I would truly appreciate it. But if you don't want to, that's cool too. Whatever. Just give me the views. All right. Love you guys. It's Monday. We'll be talking to you soon. Last of Us probably coming out this week as well, I would imagine. But who knows? I stink at this stuff sometimes. But thanks for joining me today, guys. I love you. Enjoy your day off if you're off. If you don't, I'm sorry. But I love you. Anyways, thank you for listening. Purple Podcast, episode number 34. Peace.